I did a lot of research on that, and if you are curious, you can look up the Andy Cutler Chelation Think Tank on Facebook. It's a great group of people who are extremely helpful if you're in this sort of situation. So I did a lot of homework there, and I guess I should touch on this real quick. So once you're exposed to mercury, the mercury floats around in your blood until it settles somewhere, and it can either settle in your bones, your organs, your muscles, any tissue, or it can go to your central nervous system. It can actually go to your brain. And there are three main chelators that Andy Cutler talks about. There's DMSA, DMPS, which are those are great chelators for pulling mercury and other heavy metals out of your body, besides your brain, so besides your central nervous system. And you take them around the clock, 3 days on, 3 days off. And then there's ALA, which stands for alpha lipoic acid, and that chelator is like the one that handles all heavy metals except for lead. You need DMSA for lead if you have lead toxicity. But ALA, so for example, we take ALA around the clock. So every 3 hours, we take a dose for 3 days on and 3 days off. 3 days on, 3 days off. And I am so much mentally clearer when I am on round. I could not get these thoughts out, and I'm still struggling a little bit, but I could not get these thoughts out if I wasn't on round right now. So ALA is the only one that can cross the blood-brain barrier and actually pull mercury out of your brain. So, and the whole idea behind taking a low dose constantly around the clock is, I think of it as like a steady river. If you were to take one large dose, I'll just say one large dose of ALA or any chelator, you would stir up all the mercury in your body, and then your kidneys and your liver wouldn't be able to process it all at one time, and they would only be able to process what they'd be able to process, and you would suffer, trust me. And then the rest of it would just settle back in your wherever it's going to settle. But if you take a low, steady dose, I think of it as a slow and steady river, constantly pulling stuff out at a rate that my kidneys and my liver can process. So it's much more effective, and you don't suffer nearly as much as if you were to try to just get it done quickly. So April of 2016, my son had been weaned for over 6 months. So I got my amalgams removed, and I started the Andy Cutler protocol. And my son, I started him as soon as I got my amalgams out as well. And we're on round 9 for me and round 16 for him. He got to start much sooner than I did, because there's a waiting period between when you get your amalgams out and when you can actually start the chelators. But my round 8 was amazing. I haven't been that mentally clear, and just felt like my old self, spontaneous, and I had so much energy, and I was the mom and wife that I have wanted to be for a very long time. So I know that this is helping. And then in July 18th of 2016, we started the GAPS intro. My son and I did together, and it's actually been really interesting, finding out what works for my body and what doesn't. And he is like a little mini me. Everything I react to, he reacts to. So it is no joke. Oh, I didn't touch on this. So Natasha Campbell-McBride says that she talks about how the mom passes her gut flora on to her baby. And I think this is really interesting. The reason that every generation keeps getting sicker and sicker is because the mom passes her gut flora onto the child. And what do? We abuse our bodies. We eat GMO food. We consume chemicals. We're around chemicals constantly. so many things that disrupt the balance of a healthy gut and the gut flora. When I say gut flora, I'm talking about the good and bad bacteria in the gut. And so each generation damages it more and more and more, and antibiotics are horrible for gut flora. And we do nothing. It's not our culture anymore to do anything to restore our gut flora or to better our health. We just cover up symptoms. At least that's what doctors teach us nowadays. So that is the reason why every generation just keeps getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I found that extremely interesting, and I am determined to change our family tree. So starting with me and starting with my son and a friend. So we are on the GAPS diet now. We've been able to introduce a couple foods that we weren't okay with before, which are eggs and carrots. Even the sugar in carrots used to set me off, but now carrots are okay. And eggs, for whatever reason, we had a love-hate thing with eggs, but now, thank God, we eat eggs all the time. A friend has also been helping me. She's in school to become a nutritional therapist, and I've been a test case, and there were a lot of things that I needed support with to actually aid in the healing process. So if you are dealing with something like this, it is hands down worth the money to speak to a nutritional therapist. Without a doubt. Like, now I would go spend $1,000 on a nutritional therapist to get the help that I've gotten. It's just made a world of difference, really. And I love that we're making headway now, and the changes that we've made diet-wise, I look back and they're simple, and I'm so glad that that this challenge has been put in front of us. I mean, it's been really hard, but I'm so glad that I'm learning how to prepare food and how to take care of my body and how to pass this down. And I share it with anybody who wants to hear it. And now thinking back, I realize I used to deal with headaches. I used to itch just all over my body all the time, like not chronically, but I used to just be itchy all the time, and I'm never itchy anymore. Let's see what else here. I had acne, really bad, and I used to get bloated all the time. And I'm still working on this. It's an adrenal issue, but I am like intolerant to really getting my heart pumping, like really working out. And come to find out, a lot of mercury toxic people deal with this because it's mercury moving around in your body. I would get really dizzy and really nauseous, and I usually got like a migraine status headache for like 24 hours after working out. It was horrible. So, I cannot wait to get back to actually being able to get my heart pumping again. And then I've also just learned that the body is really so complex. So many things are tied into each other. And really what it comes down to is when I see commercials like for prescriptions, it just, oh, people, please don't get sucked into this. The prescriptions that doctors want to shove at you, I get it. There is a time and a place. There's totally a time and a place. But really, it's just they're masking symptoms. They're not actually making anything better. And could it be making things worse? I think so, because of the chemicals. Imagine what that's doing to your gut flora. If it's just covering things up. And usually we all know that side effects are, it's just a part of the game. They send you in circles. So our symptoms our systems in our body are talking to each other constantly, and we really need to start thinking about our bodies as one whole unit. And until we start looking at health this way, we are going to continue to have problems. I really, really believe that. A holistic way, holistic health is really the only way to look at your body and your health as a whole. And yes, okay. I hate how hard we have to fight just to find these answers. Even my naturopathic doctor, when I talked to her about chelation, she's like, oh yeah, I can give you a prescription for 500 milligrams of DMSA. And I'm like, whoa, no, I don't want that. I know what that will do. Remember, it'll stir everything up and then it'll settle again. My liver and kidneys can't possibly process all of this that I'm dealing with at one time. And then when I talk about the GAPS diet, she's like, oh yeah, it's not going to hurt anything. But I mean, so it's hard to find a doctor that knows everything. And not to say that I know everything, but what I'm doing right now, I'm seeing significant results and it's working. So it's really sad that the answers aren't more readily available to us. And that makes me want to share my story for anybody who can benefit. I'm not qualified by any means to